Well, another big punters weekend to look forward to this weekend with 9 races in ITV4 spread right across Scotland and down in Berkshire. Jason Weaver alongside us. And Jason, ground will be important. We're looking at maybe good to soft up at Ayr, but it'll take some getting. Bottomless nearly at Newbury.
Yeah, that's what they are telling us. And if that is key, I mean, stamina at an absolute premium. We've sort of got the speedier runners because everybody will be focusing in on the two big sprint divisions, the Ayr Gold Cup, the absolute big one that obviously the Northern trainers would love to keep at home. So would the riders as well. And yeah, a real good spread on this fine Saturday.
Let's look at the action then. We'll go chronological and switch between Ayr and Newbury. We start at 1:15 up at Ayr. A decent little mile handicap. Couple last time out winners, Isla Kai and Koi Koi, maybe the couple to focus on.
Yeah, I think that Isla Kai has been a little bit unlucky. Runs in all of these heritage handicaps and was given half a chance in the early stages. Normally goes out, makes the run and falls in a bit of a hole, but did really, really well to win last time. Koi Koi was a good winner of the Racing League at Wolverhampton. Young Billy Loughnane was on board on that occasion, kicked for home and absolutely stole a march on the riders. Was getting a bit tired late on. Switching back to the turf should be absolutely okay. But I've got my eye on a horse who hasn't produced so far this year, and it's Stormbuster. Now, he's got a wonderful pedigree. He's actually been thrown in the deep end. When he's tried fairly easy conditions underfoot so far, he's been in the likes of the Vertum, as it was known, August Rodin, in that sort of level of race. And he now comes back into a handicap. He's sort of flying under the radar at a big each way price. I think Stormbuster, we haven't seen the best of him, and slight easing grade is going to help.
I had an inkling you might go for him with his bit of back class. Interesting, then a big price, hopefully, in the open. Let's switch to Newbury then. Sadly, only 5 for the Group 3 Dubai World Trophy. I say bottomless ground, but good to see. Hopefully, we see sense of duty back. Not been seen since winning last year's Chip Chase, and then a good run of wins.
Yeah, absolutely. In flying form, I was listening to Maureen Haggis talk yesterday, and they need to get a run into her if she's going to take up her opportunity in the Champions Sprint at Ascot. That said, that sort of the red flag went off, or was that a bit of a warning as to her being, not fit? No, she's fit enough to run. And in all honesty, if you're going into the British Champions Sprint, you'll need to be winning this on your return, wouldn't you? Because you go through the others and they quite clearly wouldn't be good enough to go and sort of trouble the judge there. Maybe Racel could run a decent sort of race, but I think that she needs to step right back into it. And with a team like this, surely they will have tried her on the watered gallop at home. They must have some sort of inkling that she's going to be fine on the ground.
Yeah, good to see her back in action. Maybe the champion sprint on her agenda. Well, let's move back up to Ayr then. The Doonside Cup this is pretty decent. We've got an Irish challenger in the Helvig Dream. We've got My Prospero, struggling to get his head in front, but he's dropped in class. Bateman's Boy, an interesting stable switcher. And then Royal Rhyme, impressive, glorious Goodwood winner. Nice little race.
Yeah, it's a really late shout, but there is big question mark as to whether My Prospero is going to go. So do keep a very close eye on that. That'll drag us down to the 7. Royal Rhyme has been in absolutely flying form for Carl Burke and continues to climb up the ladder. He's actually been put up in 1 or 2 places for the big one at Champions Weekend. He'd need to be winning this on the bridle, wouldn't he, if he's to go and take his chance down there. I have to say that Lockin Brew, I've been a big fan of hers since she ran at Pontefract last year. And if you were to go back and dig into that form, it's very, very strong indeed. I know that Carnarvon was just in behind, and we've all seen her go really close in the big classic at Epsom throughout the season. And she's been a non-runner on a couple of occasions. Once was a vet certificate, once was because of quick ground. And they would not be sending her all the way here to Scotland if she wasn't fit from Lambourne. I think she goes right under the radar.
There we go, then. That's out at back at Newbury, though. We've got this Autumn Cup handicap. Only 7 go to push. We've got Valsad, who won the final Racing League race at Southall the other night. And also Salt Bay, who was placing a Group 1 as a juvenile. He's got bottomless ground. I think he won good to soft ground on debut. It could be a good weekend for Rafe Beckett as well. He's got plenty of chances around the country.
Yeah, the team are in absolutely sparkling form, aren't they? It's that piece of form that you mentioned from last back end in the Grand Criterion where he ran on bottomless ground that is going to hopefully stand him in good stead. He's been a little underwhelming so far this season, but he's only had, the 4 races. He's already got a mark of 105, and he's bound to be pretty popular. Get Shirty has been running in all the big handicaps and actually running really, really well at York and at Haydock. And Sea King on the recovery mission. Now, Valsad didn't look like winning, did he, last time? And then late on, he sort of got going, suggesting that he's a big, big improver back to the turf. But I like the Donny form. I do like One for the Gutter. He was a massive price when he finished second in the Mallard at Doncaster. But that was a really good run. And if we're in that real slog, real battle under heavy conditions, you want one of Ian Williams's on your side, don't you? He'll love this if it's a real test. So One for the Gutter, Richard Kingscote.
Well, One for the Gutter then. Maybe a small surprise. A big price, wasn't he? And just chinned at Doncaster. And it's kind of Doncaster form that make onto the fort in the Silver Cup. But huge field. We'll get an idea, of course, for the draw for the big one an hour or so later. But it's that Doncaster form, Rathbone with Jump the Gun, Mike Dean in the ownership of Jump the Gun. They look like 2 to be up towards the head of the market, but wide open. I'll take you at least 2 darts here.
Okay, yeah, we'll have a couple of stabs. It's fascinating you mentioned like Rathbone. When I spoke to Mick Harrington, he would always say that, quicker conditions are absolutely ideal for him. And he goes and pops up at Doncaster, given a brilliant ride by Connor Planis, and just keeps on going. My old favourite, he did us a favour, didn't he? Gulliver. He couldn't have been any more impressive last time. He absolutely zipped in. He's got to be a player, especially the reason I like Gulliver is because he's drawn next door to Punch Bowl Flyer. Punch Bowl Flyer, we know that he likes to pop along up on the front end. So he's going to get that toe into the race and be hopefully on the right side. There's a maybe that Bergerac could sort of bounce back to form. Kevin Ryan, obviously, he's got a brilliant record up here. But I have to say, you go down through them, maybe Illusionist for the Grant Sure team and Ollie Stammers. He's got a bit of form with some dig in the ground. He's over on the other side of the track, drawn in the low numbers, one either side. I think Illusionist will probably be a big each-way player, but Gulliver be the main selection.
There we are then, a couple against the field, one either side of the draw. Right, back to Newbury then, the 240, this Dubai GT3 handicap. I think this has replaced the Arc Trial that used to be on this card, didn't it? But again, hopefully we get all 8 going to post. Mealboss has been very disappointing this season, but don't forget he was third in a French derby previously. And balanced play, I appreciate being back on easier ground as well after down the field at York.
Yeah, it's fascinating with Mealboss, isn't it? Been a big gamble on a couple of occasions. Do you think that the team have sort of thought he's not putting it all in? They back him up really, really quickly, just 7 days since he last ran. Certain lad we know is a class performer and he likes a bit of dig in the ground. Garci, who went on that absolute march up through the handicap, but that has just sort of petered out a little bit this time, hasn't it? And he keeps threatening to produce, but never quite going through with his run. I have to say that when you get to this stage and we know a lot about these handicappers and they're going up and down or trying to find a bit of form, surely it's time for the new blood, isn't it? Le Mans down the bottom, 470,000 guineas as a yearling, owned by the Westerberg team. We'll see these colours, obviously with Aidan O'Brien, but the Hannenkamp responsible for Le Mans was very impressive underneath Ryan Moore last time, scooting away in the closing stages. The ground, it is a bit of a question mark, but 8 stone 4, Sam Hitchcock getting a rare opportunity for a big winner. I think that's the way to go.
Right on the bottom then, Le Mans, just his 4th start. The pick in that one, back up to Ayr, then the 3 o'clock, the Group 3, the Firth of Clyde Stakes, 9 set to go to post. Lots to talk about this Rakia, very impressive in the last 2 starts, including just a fortnight ago. I thought Dorothy Lawrence was a belting each way bet here. It will be rock hard to keep out of the frame, but a couple of challenges from Ireland as well once again.
Yeah, I mean, Dorothy Lawrence was caught right on the line in the Dick Pool by Juniper Berries, and we know that is rock solid form. Eve Johnson Horton's juvenile, very, very strong indeed. When you go down through them, Rakea, obviously impressive, good pedigree, right team. Jim Crowley cannot buy a winner at the moment, can he? You know, things are not going really for him. Alasifa, odds on shot for the John Musker the other day, didn't happen, never got on with it. And just one of those, confidence is a crazy thing with riders, and he just hasn't got that at the moment. Hopefully that turns with Hookham just around the corner for the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. Quite like the look of Great Generation. Now, Marco Botti, he could do with another return to the top level. And it's nice they've kept the young Stefano on board as well, because this will arguably be his biggest winner ever. Not extended to win at Chester. Admittedly, that is on the turn against some nice unexposed types. Back on a straight track, holds no fears whatsoever, having won at Haydock on racecourse debut. Great Generation is a big improver.
Great Generation then in that Firth of Clyde. Right, back to Newbury for the final time, and you've got history here. 10-1 winner last year with Knight in bottomless ground, so no pressure. Hopefully the 8 do go to post. Obviously, a lot of talk about this Mr. Sketch bought by Wafton Racing after bolting up Bree Johnson Horton last time out. He's back for more. And you've got Hartum at the top, who brings Greek form in that vintage stakes form, franked by Iberian in the Betford Champagne at Doncaster last weekend.
Yeah, they've all been a little bit bullish, haven't they? You know, coming into this, there's been all the talk about Mr. Sketch. I've watched him back. He got himself a bit wishy-washy and warm at Salisbury. He bolted up in a small field, and of course, he sold for an absolute fortune. Well done to the team. But they said he was only they were going to leave him alone, maybe one run at the back end, but he just kept coming forward and working so well that they had to run him. I think that weakness is going to get exposed coming down here under real soft conditions. And so I'd be wary of him. You've got 7 questions. George Scott has won this before, and he's pretty bullish about him going through the grades with an official rating of 101. But why are we looking away from Hartem? He's been to all the dances. He's been unlucky going back all the way to the Woodcut. He won the Vintage on soft ground. Iberian came out and boosted that form in the Champagne. He got beat on rock hard ground, quick conditions at York, back under softer surface. You know, you want a hardy, tough campaigner. He likes a bit of dig. I know he's got the £3 penalty for the Vintage win, but he's honestly, I think he's so overlooked in the market. I think he's about 11-2.
Yeah, Harton, as I say, danced every dance, as you say, form franked with an Iberian last week as well. So big chance in the Middle Reef Stakes, and say Jason put up a 10-1 winner of that race last year. Right, the big one. I think, is this the least richest sprint handicap in Europe? It's certainly one of them. The Ayr Gold Cup. It's basically a group race, isn't it? We've got Summergan rated 107, wide open. Juan Lepin is thrown in his £8 well in after his recent form. But look, well, we've got 10-1 the field. How many picks do you want here?
About 7. Yeah, it's one of those sort of races. It's Summergan. Is he bidding to go back to back? The first horse in 92 years. What a record he has got. He's just a remarkable horse, isn't he? And certainly wouldn't hold it against him. Rohan has been coming down through the grades. All of a sudden, he's going to pop up at a big price. I wouldn't put it beyond the realms that he could certainly surprise. He looks the class angle in here, but for me, but he hasn't been firing. What about Montasib? Now, if you were to go through his winning form where he beat Star of Orion, that's that real heritage handicap Bunbury Cup form, isn't it? Over the long sprint 7 furlongs. They never saw him as a sprinter, and he hasn't tried 6 furlongs since running and winning over it on his racecourse debut. The team couldn't be in any better form. Kieran Fallon certainly needs a big winner towards the back end of the campaign to sort of get his name back in lights. 33, 34 winners so far. Had one for the team at Yarmouth in the week as well. I think that Montasib, remember him being a little bit of a gamble for the Lincoln in the early part of the campaign, but back sprinting could prove the key with him. And what's not to like, I mentioned him briefly there, Rohan, back into handicap company. I always thought that Adam Kirby was going to sort of creak out of retirement, get his leg across him, go and win a big one, and then finally pull up stumps. But he's proven with a bit of dig in the ground, a big field, holds no fears whatsoever. And I think that with Ben Curtis on, could be a great day for him, going with Gulliver and also Rohan and Montasib.
Well, then a couple again, one from each side in the Ayr Gold Cup. Right, 9 races covered. What would be the idea of a strongest bet, best bet on the TV this weekend?
I think that I would like to go Sense of Duty, and then I listened yesterday to Maureen Haggis talking about her possibly wanting the outing a little bit. Why won't Gulliver go and win the Silver Cup? He absolutely bolted up. But I think, again, it's a massive price to field, isn't it? I think it's 8, 9, 10 to 1, something like that, the field. And he won with any amount in hand. So provided he can switch that back over, where he gets the perfect drag into the race, Punch Bowl Flyer will go flat out. He's got something to aim at. Gulliver for me.
Well, you've gone for the easy race of the weekend. The 25 run a Silver Cup with Gulliver's, you're right, bolted up the other day at Southall. And yes, give it a plug.
Oh, we'll be ready. We're going with both teams to score. Got to get those lists off. Going to get stuck right into the goals.
They'll be ticking him off as the Ayr Gold Cup's underway live on ITV4 tomorrow as well. Right, best of luck to be back in this weekend. We'll be back next week. Of course, it's the Cambridgeshire and nothing other than the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe to look ahead to over in France. So a busy weekend next weekend. Hopefully, we can boost the betting bank at Ayr and Newbury this Saturday.